Hello, hello. Hi, Fiona. Hi, Sue. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Jeanette. You remembered? Well done, Jeanette. There's 4 of you, 4 little bubbles in the jar already. I saw them drop in there. Oh, am I a bit fuzzy? Am I a bit out of focus? Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe I'm okay. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Gwen. Hi, Robin. Hi, Janie. Yes, well done, Janie. Hi, Sharon. Welcome all. What have we got? We've got quite a few of you on here. So if you're new here, welcome to our Live at 7 with Helen. Hi, Denise. Hi, Cheryl. And if this is your first time here on Facebook or on YouTube, hi, Karen. I arrived. Good. Thank you. Well done. And so the little jar down in the left-hand side of your screen is our little lolly jar or our little lottery jar. So every time you say hello or ask a comment or ask a question or make a comment, then a little ball drops into the jar and that's your little face dropping in there, and it's an entry that we draw out at the end just for a little gift, a little surprise gift. Hi, Marilyn. Home tonight? Good. Hi, Yvonne. So yeah, that's just a bit of fun. So if you leave a comment, you watch and see if you can see your face drop into the jar. It'll only have your face if you've allowed, I think, permissions, your Facebook profile photo to be shown, and it'll drop in there. So yeah. So have we all had a good week? Let's talk about the weather. We always talk about the weather. Or should we talk about the Matildas? What an up and down week. Hi, Amanda on YouTube. Yeah, Saturday night's game. Wow, that was the most stressful thing you've ever watched with that penalty shootout. Last night's, it was disappointing. It was sad, but I think I just heard that 45% of Australia was watching it. So I'm not sure if that's surpassed Kathy Freeman's gold medal run for the most viewers or not. They're still counting, I think. I think that's just on TV. So quite amazing the surge it's created by having it in our country and having the Matildas do so well. Anyway, it can only be good for getting kids outside and kicking a ball around and just creating so much. Okay, hi Liz. 2 Liz's. Hi Kylie. Hi Dell. Hi Steph. Yeah, it was sad, Fiona, but got to remember, one, we have to remember it's just a game. I know they put their whole life into it, but like people would say, oh, do you think they'll win? Look, I've never actually been a soccer watcher. Don't even really know the rules. I've learned quite a few. So I think like probably 80% of us, we all got caught up in the media frenzy and watched it. And if anyone said, "Oh, do you think you'll win?" I don't think you can say that. Like it's not a game of chance, but it is a game of chance in a way. I mean, so many attempts, and it just takes one little millimeter wrong, and it doesn't happen. So it's either very one-sided, but by the time we got to the finals, everyone was so even in actual skill level. I think it was almost chance. So hi, Tina. Hi, Colleen. Oh, you had retreat at Camp Clayton. Is that the guild retreat? Or that might have been on. I've missed that. So that was the big news in the week, wasn't it? The Matildas. In the meantime, it made for lots of stitching time while you were viewing, except that, of course, if you look down at your needle, you miss that one goal and it's gone. Oh, who just dropped in there? Bronwyn, you just dropped in. Hi, Bronwyn. Your first time here? Good. So your name just dropped into the little lottery jar down the left-hand corner of your screen there, and that means you've got an entry to win a little prize at the end. Hi, Adrian. Thanks for today. Hope you survived it, and thanks for the info you gave me. I'll be following up on that. They did do a good job, Gwen. They certainly did. But their faces, the looks on their faces at the end, they were just devastated, weren't they? Hi, Elizabeth. Veronica, Catherine, hi. Your first time too, Catherine. Did you hear that little bit about the lottery? I think you would have just dropped in. Yes, it was Veronica. That just went up. Yes. Hi, Leanne. Yeah, I think it looks quite pretty, doesn't it? It's not actually wallpaper. It's just a surface pattern design, but I just mocked it up on that wallpaper, and I was really amazed actually at how good it looked. But for me, I would be very brave to have such a large-scale floral wallpaper in a tiny room. But wouldn't it be great to see it on the block or something, that they use something like that? Oh, that'd be cool if you saw your own design on something used on there. Hi, Susan. And Leanne, how are you? Good to see you. All right, so we've got a fair few here. Everyone's just dropping in, and that's good. We can maybe get started with what I've got to show you. Let's get to the bottom there. It's nice to have some new people, and if you're watching this on replay, that's fine. It stays there, so you can go back and watch it anytime you like. Yeah, it'd be nice on a wall. It's funny seeing your own thing. I'm not sure if you also saw I shared a couple of weeks ago after work on a Saturday at the shop. I stayed there and did a podcast with Carolina Moore in the US. So it was late on a Friday night for her, and it was Saturday afternoon for me. And she started a podcast series on the favorite notions. So a couple of days ago, I shared the link to that because it's just launched on the 15th. Hi, Rhonda. And it was all over Instagram and Facebook, and I think I shared the links. If you caught that, it'll be there somewhere. She on the story that she posted, it just had a really short excerpt of the podcast. So I heard that, so I heard my voice then, but like with anything, I don't think I'll be able to listen to the whole thing. It's that thing where you hear your own voice on the answering machine and you think, oh, that's not me, I don't sound like that. So I'm not sure I can go and listen to the whole thing, but Matilda watched it all. She said it was really good, Mum, it was good. So I went for about 40 minutes. So that's there if you're interested in that, and support Carolina. She's put 3 up, so she's just started her series with 3. There was Krista Watson and Julie Leoma, I think, was the third one to start with, and then there's going to be one each week. Hi, Mark. So anyway, yeah, so if you're here on replay, you can come back and watch it anytime, and if you can find the link that I shared, then you can go and listen to the podcast if you really want to listen to me talking for 40 minutes. There's no hares or owls tonight, Denise, but there are, what are there? There's flowers, because last week you requested flowers, and there's coffins tonight. So we've got coffins and flowers, which are not quite as tricky as the airs and owls and the hares. But yeah. Okay. So, all right. So what have I got to show you this week? So I've got a couple of things. I need to slide back a bit because they're big. So I thought tonight we'd focus on some bags, and I went in and grabbed all the oh, well done, Andrea. Well, that should be a reason to get out of it every week, pass that on to the kids or someone. Hi, Jackie. So I went and grabbed all the big bags in the shop, but they're big, so it's hard to show them all at once. So we're going to start with this one. And this one I actually made a few years ago. It's the aeroplane bag by So Sweetness. And it's sized enough to fit a little sewing machine in to take on the aeroplane. But it can go on as you carry on. So it doesn't have to be for your sewing machine, of course. It can also be for all your clothes for an overnight trip or your carry-on clothes. It's filled with stuffing. I'll just get that out. And inside there's zip pockets. So there's one on both sides on the inside there. I think I made it. Maybe I didn't make this one. Maybe someone else made this one, actually. It's got the beautiful Anna Maria Horner echinacea print on it. And I don't think I did make it because in my mind it's upside down. So the echinacea print, the echinacea flowers hangs down that way. So, and I think somehow the print's been put on upside down. It doesn't matter. It just looks like a daisy or something instead. But so it's the aeroplane bag pattern. I'll throw the link in the comments in a minute, Andrea. But it's a gorgeous big bag, and I've just made it with, well, it has got foam. It's got foam in the top part of it. Actually, I didn't make it. So that will protect, but the bottom hasn't got foam. So it's quite, if you needed to squish it up, you can actually put it in your suitcase, quite small, and then have an extra bag if you do too much shopping and you need an extra one to come back. But yeah, it's a great overnight one. And it reminded me because Sue was in the shop a couple of weekends ago with her daughter or daughter-in-law, and she saw it and said, you could make you one of those. So that's that one, the aeroplane bag. All right. The next one I did make, and it is another So Sweetness pattern, but I now can't remember what it was called. So that's really bad of me. Joe, if you're here and you remember, please put it in the comments. Hi, Renee. We do have the pattern, Andrea, and we actually still have the fabrics too. I think we might even have kits for that one still. So this one I did make. Can't remember the name of it. We'll find it out. And it's got a pocket. Again, it's quite large, not quite as big as the last one. This would make a really nice, like, oversized handbag. So over your shoulders, if you can see that over your shoulder. So, you know, a nice big handbag if you have to take quite a bit of stuff. Pockets in both ends. So that end and that end. It's got the bag hardware here. So it's got just the little strap holders there, the D-rings. And then in the top, it's got this zipper. Okay, so it's like a flap. It's not quite completely closed. That opens up. And inside, there is a zipper pocket on one side and then a bag base in there as well. Now, I made this a few years ago. I would actually now, I think I'd probably make it with a zipper that came apart, like a jacket zipper, so that you could have that apart completely maybe. But that is another So Sweetness bag, and I'm sorry, I'll have to look up the name of that one for you. I didn't do that. But again, it's quite large, but not as big as the other one. You certainly wouldn't fit a sewing machine in it. So it's more of a large handbag or project bag. And that was, pretty sure that was an Anna Maria Horner fabric too. But I don't have that one still, but we do have the echinacea in several colors still. And then the next one is a Biani bag. And this is the ultimate travel bag. Again, someone made this sample for us. Hi, Carol. Hi, Bronwyn. Got the pattern on Wednesday. You've got it so good. Okay, we've worked it out. Hi, Jenny. And so this is a Biani ultimate travel bag. This one also, she says you can fit a little sewing machine in. This has got so many moving parts to it. Like all Biani patterns, everything is finished and trimmed. So we have the shoulder strap, which is detachable here. So it's got the little detachable hooks on the end there, so that can come off. And it's also adjustable, so it's got the adjustable bits on it there. Hi, Denise. It's got normal carry handles here. Okay. It also has this Velcroed strip here. So you can sit it on the top of your suitcase over the handle, and that little strip goes over the handle, so it will just sit nicely on the top of your wheelie suitcase there. It has just an open pocket there. And on this side, it has another open pocket, but also a zipper pocket. So you can pop your phone or your passport or whatever in there if you're using it for that. It has a pocket at both ends. So just an open pocket there at both ends. Yep, both ends there. There's another one. And then we unzip it. And inside, on one side, if you can see that, it's got 3 mesh pockets. And on the other side, it's got one full mesh pocket with a zip on it. So it's got so many parts to it. It's such an amazing bag. It's all made with the foam bag batting, so it's lovely and rigid and just sits and keeps its shape. But, you know, it's a major work. It'd be like take you as long as making a quilt, but it is certainly a bag to remember. It's an amazing bag. So that's the ultimate travel bag. I think I've got the pattern for that one here to show you. Yeah, it's the ultimate travel bag. Oops, I didn't reverse that camera. Let me just flip this camera. There we are. So that's the right way. Amanda, I've made 2 of the Biony bags for my granddaughters when they come and stay. The ultimate travel bags, that's a lot of work. Well done, Amanda. Does it come with a video, the ultimate travel bag? Yes, there is a voucher inside the pattern to get the video from Biony. They're fantastic, aren't they, to follow along with those videos. That really helps you out. Even, you know, I still actually, even if I'm following the pattern, go and watch the video as well, because sometimes it means I don't have to read the pattern as much. I can just watch the video. So that's really good. Okay, so that's the ultimate travel bag. And then the last one I've got to show you, Tina has just brought into the shop the sample. So Tina's our resident bag maker teacher. And this is the Poppins bag. It is massive. And this is just the standard size. There's actually a giant Poppins bag as well. So this is not the biggest, but it is just amazing. So she's used her own fabric here. So we don't have this fabric, sorry. But we do have everything else. So there's padded handles. There's a big pocket there. There's this lovely contrast strip up here. Another pocket on this side. She's used vinyl that we've got in the shop for the base. So if you sit it down on a wet surface or a dirty surface or something, it's not going to make your fabric dirty. And then it's like the retreat bag in that it has these wire frames in there that opens it up wide so you can get inside. So inside, if you can see that, she's just got a gorgeous contrast pocket on that side, if I can show it to you, and also on that side. So she's put one on both sides, if you can see that. Let's see. I'll open it up and show you inside. And then she's actually made, we could cut these, but she's made a bag base in there just over. I think she's just cut it out for some ply or something, but we could also laser cut those. So the only zip is the one around the top, but the rest is all trimmed and finished beautifully. And it's just so big and it's just so gorgeous, isn't it? Don't you think? That is just gorgeous, but actually not near as much work in that as there is in the Biony's Ultimate Travel Bag. So for those ones we have, so this is the original Poppins bag, and instead of the wires, it's got these metal strips, and you know, like you have in boning and that. So that's we've got that version, which is a little bit cheaper. Now they have the pre-bent stays in there, but that's actually a different size. Okay, so maybe that's for the size that she's done. Got those, and then these ones have got the wire stays like the retreat bags have in them. Okay, there's several different sizes. So that's what's that size? Little Poppins bags in 2 sizes. So this one's got, and then this one's got 2 smaller sizes in it, I think. And then this is the mini Poppins bags, and they come with the frames in them like the retreat bags do. So they're pretty sweet. So we have all of those. Okay. And then, and I'll pop these links. Let me show you. Let me put them in here. Show in stream. Just going to put them up there. So I'll add that one. I had that one. And that one. Now, what was that, Marg? Did you say how long does it take to make? If you ask me how long it take to make, if that's for the Poppins bag, we had a class scheduled for 3 weekends, so 4 hours over 3 weekends, but sadly we didn't get enough. It was a bad time of the year, so if we get enough people, Tina will run that again, and it will be 3 weekends over to make that beautiful bag. And then she also had a few hacks to show you as well, a few different things to add. Okay, so I've added those links there for you. All right, so one more, and now this is, I'm going to pop the link in. This is one of my patterns, and it's nothing so elaborate as that. But this is the Regal Pochette bag, which is an older pattern, but it's still so very popular. And originally I made it from William Morris fabrics and just a blue variegated thread. Donna, the lovely Donna, who works at the shop now, has remade it in this gorgeous Tilda fabric. And a lovely cottage garden thread. So I'm just going to switch to the overhead so you can see it a bit better. You can see the embroidery on there. So it's just one thread and it's just got all this fly stitch leaves on it. And it's just a zipper pouch. Well, when I say just, it is a very handy zipper pouch. No pockets or anything in there. But using just a really pretty Tilda fabric that we've got quite a bit of left. It's a very soft, feminine, romantic sort of one. And this chosen this gorgeous sweet pea cottage garden variegated stranded thread to do the embroidery on a little bit of linen. So I will be adding that to the website tomorrow as a second option in the kits if you wanted a kit for that. If you've already got the pattern and you've made it in the blues or another one and you want the kit for this colour, we can do that. Otherwise, you can get both and you can order either the William Morris blues or the beautiful Tilda soft pretty pinks. So I'll add that. So it's pretty, isn't it? So thank you, Donna, for doing that. Okay. So that is all I've got to show you, but as in other than what we're going to demo tonight by request. So we'll now hide those and move on. So I went on and finished my Dresden block from last week. So if you're new here tonight, go back over the last few weeks. Hi, Maxine. Haven't seen you here. Go back through the lives from the last few weeks, and we've been demoing different parts of the owl and hare block of the month from Homespun, just to help out people who are struggling or needing a little bit of assistance on the way. I was only going to do it 1 week, but every week you ask me to do a different part of it, so I keep doing the others. Denise, which would be the easiest bag? The least amount of work is the aeroplane bag. And probably the easiest as well. I mean, they all have lots of instructions, but the aeroplane is probably the simplest. It has the least amount of trims and bits and pieces in it. The Poppins bag, probably next. And then the ultimate travel bag and the other sweetness one that I can't remember the name of. Might be what is it called? Park Lane or something. Anyway, would be the most amount of work and the trickiest. So, okay, so that's just answering Denise's question, which would be the easiest bag to make out of that. Okay, so back to our owl and hare. So last week, I put these together out of my circle, and then I used my circle rulers and just a blue washout pen to mark my circle. And then I just running stitched that. I attached some stabilizer to the back first because I just can't stitch without stabilizer, and it kept it all nice and flat. And then I just did my running stitch, and then I just washed out my blue pen that I used last week. So that's the Dresden block. That's really pretty, isn't it? I might just use that and make it into another zipper pouch or something. I don't know. I've got lots of these blocks that I'll make into something, but I thought they came out really pretty. So for those that are new, we have done that one. A few weeks ago, we went through all things stitchery. So how to get it on there, how to prepare it, how to stitch it, and went through the stitches. Then we went through the hexes. We're using our iron-on papers, so the hexes, and doing how to use our circle rulers to get a perfect circle here and get them all stitched down. And then we did the hare and the little outside rings. Again, we used the iron-on leave-in papers and we used the rulers to get it perfectly round. I missed his tail, but I went back and found his tail. And I actually think maybe I've done these hexes wrong because this is a 1/2 inch and there's 3/8 3/8 inch hexes in the laser cut kit as well, and in the pattern. So I've got a feeling these were meant to be 3/8 of an inch, but that's all right. I'm not making the whole quilt, so I've broken up a pack anyway. So it still fitted in there. So that was the hare. And then last week we did the nasty owl that people, well, he's not nasty. Well, I think it's a she. She's a very sweet little owl. But for a lot of people, this was quite nasty in that they were really struggling on appliquing that. So we went through that. So if you want to pick up some hints and tips, go back through the replays from the last few weeks. And so tonight, the first thing I thought I would do, I was going to plug my iron in. Now, I'm not even sure how this ends up in the pattern. I could find it and have a look. But I've got a feeling that he could get, I think there's that ring around him again, but maybe he gets appliqued onto the back. I know some of them get appliqued onto a background fabric, like a circle, or some people certainly are. So even if it's not, this is something we have to do quite often. So I just thought I'd show you how I would then prep him to applique him on the background. So I'm going to turn him upside down and take an applique paper circle. Okay, I'm not sure if it's the right size or anything. It's just one that I had at home. And try and center him. I might just fold him so I can get the center and about the center of the owl. His feet down there and his ears up there. Okay, then I'm going to fuse that on. The iron's not really very hot yet. So it wouldn't normally take this long if the iron was hot, but I'm just waiting for the iron to get hot. Would normally just be a quick press. Okay, and then I'm going to cut out just with a small seam allowance, about 1/4 inch. Were there spares in the paper laser cut kits? There's spares of the EPP shapes. Nat asked if I'd add an extra 20% of shapes just in case you lose them. But there's not of the applique shapes. There's only one of each of those. However, if you muck one up, we put a little scrap of applique paper in there as well. So just trace another one off of your pattern sheet and redo it. If you do put it on upside down and it sticks to your iron, and you lift it up and it's on your iron, just quickly with your fingernail, peel it off the iron and whack it onto the fabric. And most times it will still stick, just certainly enough to get you through ironing your edges over. Okay, yeah, it happens to me all the time, Bronwyn. Sometimes if you're working half in the dark at night, yeah, it's very easy to happen. So I just peel it off and whack it down on the fabric and then iron it again, and it's still enough glue there to stick. All right, so I've put my circle on the back. I've cut it out with a seam allowance. And then I am going to iron, press over my linen. I'm going to need a bit more glue than that because linen is a bit thicker. And I'm just folding it and pinching it into that glue and letting it feed around the edge of the paper template. This is quite an old circle, so it's actually been cut from our original paper, which is a lot thinner, and also over time it's softened. So I'm being quite gentle because I haven't got the stiff edge that we get on the thicker paper now. But as you can see, if I just let it feed around, it still goes around quite nicely. And I'm just using the pinch and gather, so using my nail to pinch it into that glue. Like so. And I'll just give it another press. Now I can see I didn't get my owl completely centered there. Probably won't really matter. Or maybe I'll just embroider a little flower there to make it look more centered. So there's my circle, perfect circle, with a paper shape behind it to get my perfect circle. And I would then just pop that onto my background fabric and applique it down behind the machine. And then I believe this one has a ring like that around it in the original pattern. So then you'd make your ring and add around the outside of it if that's the way you want to do it. But anyway, I just thought there's lots of times that we have a stitch where we then have to applique onto a background in a perfect circle. And in my opinion, the perfect way to get a perfect circle is to use the iron on laser cut circles or die cut circles. We've got lots and lots of shapes and sizes. Okay, so that's our little owl. He's all finished. I gave him some little embroidered eyes and his little beak on there. Oops, can we see that? I don't know what I'll do with him. I think he looks quite stunned in the spotlight actually. But anyway, I didn't put much effort into my fabric choice there, and perhaps I could have been better. But he's a sweet little owl, or maybe she's a sweet little owl. Oh, good, Carleen. They're good irons. They're so handy. They certainly are handy. So Carleen just said she just ordered an iron, got her iron. Hi, Isabel. All right. The next block we were going to do tonight was our coffin block. And here's one I prepared earlier, or pretty much prepared. Just haven't pressed it. Okay, and I should have, yes, a couple that I left undone. So this uses the 1/2-inch hexies and the, well, I'm not sure what size coffins they were called, but there's, I think it's 1 inch on this side and 1/2 inch on the end, because obviously the half needs to match the half. And I know there were a few people having issues that they weren't the same size, so I'm not sure whether that was the template in the magazine wasn't the same, or one of the suppliers of your paper shapes weren't exactly the same size. But anyway, it's not a problem with these. They're laser cut. They're mathematically perfect. So we're good. So again, for the hexie, we did hexies a few weeks ago, but it's the same way. Folding up to fill the edge and push down, or use your Tack It Easy tools. And work our way around one side at a time so that our corners are glued down. We're only using the very edge of the pen. You only need a small amount of glue, no wider than the seam allowance, and then you'll never get sticky fingers. Okay, so that's our hexie done. Same with the coffin. I actually did the 2 short ends first. Not sure why, but I did. And then I think it was to stop getting tails. Oops, not sticking very well. And then we did along these sides. Again, I glue one side at a time just so that my corners are glued down. If you glue all 6 sides up at once, then when you're gluing fabric onto fabric, it doesn't touch any glue. All right, so that's how quick it is to glue and prep them. And then we join them together. So how I did this, I started at the center and I literally just stitched around all 6 sides and added like the flower on there. Now I still, if you remember when we went through stitching the hexies, I still double stitched and knotted at the beginning and end of every side, so that if one ever gets damaged and I pull it out, all the rest doesn't fall apart. Okay, now I've got an applique needle, Hugs and Kisses applique needle. I've got my Decabob 80 weight silver blending thread that I've been using. Okay, so we are now up to here. So I'm going to put that right sides together with that. Just going to give this a quick press because that glue's not sticking too well in the lights. So right sides together. And I'm going to be stitching that side and that side. So I'm going to pick it up and start stitching here, and then I can just continue around the next side. So if you can see me, right, I'm going in through the seam allowance and up to the corner where I'm going to start so that the knot's out of the way down here. I'm lining it up, the 2 sides even along the top of my finger, and I come through the 2 end points, but don't pull it too tight because I've got that big tail. Through the 2 end points again, through the loop, tie a knot, and then I'm running across the top of my finger, catching the 2 folds and whip stitching across the top. I'm going to get to the halfway mark. Just look at the end here. Make sure my 2 points are even, and if they are on such a short side, they should be. Then I'll continue stitching to the end. So my needle's going parallel or perpendicular to the fabric, so straight across, and just catching the 2 folds through the 2 points, through the 2 points again, through the loop, tie a knot, and that one's done. Now I'm going to open it out, and my next one is going to be this, joining these two here. So I will fold those right sides together. Paper's nice and flexible, so it'll just fold out of the way. Start by going through the 2 points and pulling them in tight together. Through the 2 points again. Through the loop, tie a knot. Then I'm going to whip stitch across this seam again. I think we counted last time I did about 9 stitches to the 1/2 inch, but as long as they're reasonably close together, and as you pull it through, you pull it really tight, so you've got a really tight tension, and there'll be no air showing through your stitches on the front. Through the 2 points, through the loop, tie a knot. Now my next one is going to be sitting in there like that, so I can just flip it over, and I'm already in the right spot to sew that next one. Doesn't always work. If it didn't, I would just run through the seam allowance across to the other side so that I was there ready, so I don't have to cut and knot and restart again. I just do my double stitch and a knot at the beginning. Can you see this okay? Hi, Amelia. Hello to Mum if you're watching. Reminder that it's Tessa's birthday tomorrow and it's Kay's birthday tomorrow. Just remember that. And no, Tess won't be at work, so you can call her in the day. Sorry, just a little reminder for my mother if she's remembered to watch. All right, done my knot there. And because that's the last one for this section, I'm going to come back in a stitch or two and do another double knot just to end my thread away from the corner and trim that off. Okay, so I've just got this one here to do. I need some more thread. So threaded, knotted, and then I'm going to flip this one over to here. Start in the seam allowance, come up to the corner, line myself up nice and even. Come through the 2 points, pull them nicely together through the loop, tie a knot, and then I'm just going to stitch this last seam. And I'm not sure what this is called, it's like a wagon wheel block almost. Probably gives them a name, does it? Or are they just coffin blocks? It's a bit like a wagon wheel. Okay, finish off, come back, stitch off my thread. And there is my little wagon wheel, or whatever it is, coffin star, all complete. So there we go. That looks pretty cool, doesn't it? I just used one fabric for the hexes and 2 different ones, but some of them I've seen are all scrappy. Some of them are alternate, you know, so alternate there and alternate there. You can use whatever you like. I didn't put much thought into it. I just grabbed it. But so now I would put that onto my background. I don't have a piece big enough here ready. I would use my Roxanne's basting glue, just a little spot under each section, base it all down, press it dry, and then I'll applique that all down, and I could applique that by hand or machine. So that's my job this week, isn't it, to get that one down. I have to find some more background linen and get that one down and get that block finished. All right, so that was going to be it, but we did get a request last week for the flowers and the teapot and things like that. So I won't do it completely, but I've just ironed a few on. So I think this is the little teacup. Again, I didn't even look at the pattern. I was just looking through the pack of papers and trying to work out what they were as I was quickly prepping this. So we'll do the handle because that's going to be a little bit tricky. We'll do a flower, and then you might have had enough. How long have we been going? 40 minutes. So if you're sticking with me this long, well done. You might pick up a few hints and tips. If you're an old hand, feel free to go and have dinner or settle in for, I think the block's on tonight because it wasn't on last night, maybe. Whatever else you're watching at the moment. All right, so this one, oh, I did have some leaves too somewhere. Oh, it looks like I haven't brought that up. Got some pink leaves here. Okay. So this one, because it's got an inner point, we're going to snip all the way into that inner point on all 4 sides. This one, because we've got an inner curve, I'm going to snip but stop short of the paper by a couple of threads, but it's quite a tight curve, so we're going to need quite a few snips. Okay, and because it's quite tiny, I'm going to use my tools and hope that you can see. I'm not going to glue over these edges because they're going to go underneath the cup. But first of all, I'm going to start with the outside curve, and I might just do that one with my thumb because that's a nice outer curve. And I can just pinch and gather that around. Okay, and then the inner curve, put plenty of glue on there, and then I'm going to use my tools. Am I on camera? Yep, just making sure I haven't gone off camera, and slowly drag that around as best I can and push it onto my glue. And there's our little handle. So you might have thought that was going to be really tricky, but that actually wasn't tricky at all. Okay, so there's our nice little handle. Now let's try a flower. And I'm just going to pull over as best I can. I've just spent the week, or while I was watching the basketball, doing like dozens and dozens of little 1/4-inch circles, tiny, tiny, tiny circles. And I actually did it all with the single point of my applique tool, because that meant that I could just pull over one little thread at a time. And then I ran out of glue, so I used up about 6 glue caps that I just put aside for when I'd run out. I had more downstairs, but you know, that meant going downstairs. So I used my beveled edge to dig out the glue out of the glue cap, and then I switched to the pointy edge to little bit by little bit pull over those edges. So yes, my thumbs are good, but sometimes when I'm getting to this really tiny fiddly stuff, or my thumbnails not great, then I switch. So you can see how I can just pull over one little gather at a time. And then the last one with the bevel, I'm going to do the straight bit and see if I can pull that raw thread in as best I can. I'm working on my black sticky applique mat so that it's not sliding around, it's gripping it. And I'm just going to get a bit of glue and pull that raw thread over. And there's my little flower. Okay, so there's a little flower. The teacup's going to be really quick because that's got nice, big, gentle curves. Sorry, I'm not looking at your comments if there's any there or questions. No, okay. Nothing there. Have we lost people? Might have lost a few. You might have got a bit sick of us now. So there's that. There's one. I think there's 3 flowers and a couple of leaves. The leaves I can just do quickly as well. They're fairly tiny, but I could do it with the tools, or I'm just using my thumb. Again, we want to make sure we get those double folded points. So I need to fold all the way to the end of the point to make sure we don't have a raw point there. We talked about that in the applique week. So if you go back a couple of lives, we talked about leaves. I'm pretty sure. I think we did. Maybe it wasn't on Alan Hare. It might have just been on one of my own projects. But I certainly have YouTube videos on points and tails. Okay, there's my leaves. So now I would position that all up on my background, use my rock sands to base it all down, and then applique it down and finish the block. And I think the only other thing, the applique mats, I think they're 19.95, Steph. A4 size. You can get A3, but I think A4 is fine. Using your thumb comes with practice. Actually, Chris, the thumb's easier than the tools. The tools take more practice than the thumb, I feel. But then I've used my thumb for years, and some people's thumbs just don't work. So, but my thumb, I always know where it is. I can sometimes not find my tools; they're in the wrong bag, and I can more quickly do it. And also, you don't need a table. You're doing it up in your hand, so you can do it sort of in your recliner in front of the telly. The applique tools are now, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're about, well, let me see if I've got it in the shop here. Let me see. No, I don't think I do have it in the shop to put it in. They're nearly $60, but we do have a poor man's set of Hugs and Kisses applique tool set. They're about $15. So there's either. They're good. They're good. They're a lovely investment, and they do work, and I do use them a lot. But they are an investment. So you could try the poor man's set, the Hugs and Kisses set first, which is just some sort of plastic versions and some cuticle sticks, but it does the same thing. Try that first, and then if you really love them, and for some people this is the answer. And if their thumb hasn't been working and they can't manage it with the thumb, then the tools are the answer. So yes, that what was I saying? Can't remember now. But I'll show you what you might have been following on Instagram, seen some of what I've been working on. But last night, this was the basketball game last night. So I did all these little tiny We put the scissors here for reference. So little tiny ovals, they're pretty tricky. And I've glued them all on, and I'm starting to applique them all down because there's a few that just weren't perfect. So while I applique down those, I'll just pull in any bits that weren't perfect. Some of them are pretty good. Most of them are pretty good, but occasionally you get a little point, particularly when the glue's just not holding. Some colours it's just better than others. So my job tonight is to applique all those down, as well as finish the blocks that I just demoed. So I'm not sure if some of you might have applique tools, Gwen, and know that they're good. Yeah, it is an investment, same as the scissors. You know, they're an investment. I don't use things that aren't great for me. So I would rather buy one really good pair of scissors or one really good set of tools, and I know that's all I need to get me through. There is a circle block, or lots of little circles on a block. If anyone wants me to do that next week for the last one of the owl and hare, or if there's anything else that you need me to demonstrate. But I think we've pretty much got through to the end of them, apart from the circles. And I have done some circles, but if you want me to just go over the circles again next week, I'm always happy to do circles because practice makes perfect. And I've got thousands of them in my when I've got nothing else to do project bag. Carol, the tools are for appliquing. So if your thumb doesn't work for pulling that fabric over, this one's got a little fork and that holds your fabric, and this has got a bevel, and that's what you pull. So if this was cut, so that's what you pull the fabric over and push it into the glue. If you're doing really tiny work, you can switch it around and use the pointy end just like I did before, and just pull over a little bit as well. Isabel, how do I do the points of the leaves when I applique? When I'm doing it by hand, I did demo this on a live. I'm not sure which one it was, if it was one of the owl and hares or was it before that. But I stitch up to the point, do a double stitch in the point, and then get your needle and sweep that under and then stitch down that side. So you don't cut them off, okay? You need to leave them on there. If I was doing it by machine, then I would try and put a little bit more glue. There's my glue pen. I wouldn't do these little ones by machine, but some bigger ones when I'm doing by machine, I put a little bit more glue just on the point there and try and glue it back under so that it's pretty much under while you're doing it by machine. But I still use my awl that I stitch with all the time and just sweep it under, stitch to the point and sweep under anything that's poking out there. So that's how you do your tails, but never try and trim the points of those tails off. I did go through all of that. Let me just show you on this one here. I don't know if this is from something else, but it happened to be on this bit of fabric. And this is actually a really tricky one because it's a really sharp point. I do try not to design like this too often with a really sharp point, because that means you get a lot of extra fabric there and you don't get a very sharp point. Now, you can take the tip off, okay, but you still need that 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch, same seam allowance as what you've got there, between there and there. You can't go any smaller. Now, if I glue this one, okay, I'll do this side. I put a couple of snips on my inner curve, not all the way to the paper. Pinch and gather when I get around this sharper curve here. Bottom actually has a right angle. Okay, I have to get to here and not let that splay out and have a raw tip. So I have to follow the curve of the paper and come all the way to the edge. So this one, I've got quite a big tail there and a really tiny tip. So you can see how wide that is. You can see how wide that is there, and I've got to get all that fabric in. But you can't be tempted to cut this fabric off because you're always going to get raw threads then. I might be able to take just a little bit more of the bulk of it off, but if you go too far when you're sweeping it under, it's all just going to fray out and you're going to get in a terrible mess and have a big frayed out point there, which is not great at all. So there we go. So that's how you do your points. Always leave them there and deal with it while you're stitching it down. Okay, applique tools are so good I can't be without them, especially doing tiny things. I got mine 7 years ago. That's right, Isabel. Just make sure you don't lose them, and you don't take them and you carry on a plane, because once you've invested them, you don't want to be losing them the first time you go on a plane and you carry on, because they are quite a weapon, as you can see. Jenny, one day when you have time, can you please demo making an orange pill, please? About 2-inch size. I'm struggling with the points. Oh, fancy that. I've just done a whole project this week of orange pills, but I can't show you. It's a secret. But yes, I can show you orange pills. And do you mean when they're put in 4 to a circle to make like the traditional orange pill block? Is that what you're meaning, getting the points? But the points work pretty much the same way, except for orange pills, you don't have as much of the tail because it's almost a right angle. So the tail's not as bad for an orange pill, and it's a little easier to glue it back underneath, particularly if you want to do it by machine, because orange pills you can continue a stitch by machine if you've got them all glued down. Move to Tassie anytime you like, Denise. Okay, any more questions or anything else? I've got some stitching to do. What else did I promise to do? Find the name of that other So Sweetness bag. And I think that was all I promised to do before next week. So I got a bit of finishing off to do, and then I can show you something new next week. So we might just go over circles again. I may as well do one more block, and then I'll have to come up with something new to be showing you each Thursday. Or we'll have to find some more things from the shop. We do have a lot of things arriving soon. If I do it too often, Bentley's going to have eaten every bed in the house. I don't know what he's been chewing on down there tonight, but he's giving it a good go, whatever it is. I think it's the tag off his new bed. Thanks for joining me. Hope you've hung in there. Oh, I need to draw our winner, don't I? I do need to draw our winner. So let me hide that. So if you're new here and you didn't hear at the beginning, then every time you made a comment, I'll give you a little chance. So if you made a comment and you said hello or you just asked a question, then you got a little entry over here in this lotto jar down on the left-hand side. See all those little faces in there? Hundreds of little faces in there. And one of them, when I click on Get a Winner, is going to win a little prize. So the more you comment, the more entries you get, I think. Okay, let's draw the winner. And I actually always struggle to see it because it's so tiny on my screen. Denise East. There you go. I can see that one. Denise, and you've only just arrived, I think. I just saw a message from you. Oh, a while there. Okay, so Denise, if you want to... we've probably got your address, but if you send a message to Jo tomorrow and just tell her, because I don't think Jo's been here tonight, nor Donna. Donna's getting busy with the doll show this weekend. Just send a message to Jo, tell her that you won the lotto tonight, and if you need to order something, just tell her to hold off when you're ordering something. Otherwise, she'll just send you out just a little tiny surprise from us. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for being here again tonight. Feel free to watch the replay and ask me anything that you might like to see next week, because I am around next week and I shall see you then. Big weekend, birthday week here for us. So I missed Matilda's in Adelaide last weekend. Tessie is tomorrow, as we just reminded Grandma. And so a big weekend coming up with her. Denise, how's the house going? I did notice there's a little bit of movement. That's good. Okay, so that's it from me for tonight. Thanks for visiting and happy stitching. Get some good stitching in this week. And we'll see you. Oh, one more thing. If you haven't seen your Simply Charmed or your Stitches Garden payments or invoices go through, then they're all out. So it's either in your spam or somehow we've missed it. So please contact Jo if you think you've missed it, or if you still want to join, you can still. They're all packed, ready to go. Okay, we'll see you all next week. Thanks for coming.